Hello and thanks for joining us on TVC News at 1. I am Abosidi Adenu-Adremi. We are staying with this breaking news where a federal high court sitting in Abuja has ordered the Senate to immediately recall Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, saying her 6-month suspension is excessive and violates Section 14, subsection 2 of the Legislative House's Powers and Privileges Act. The court added that her constituents must not be deprived of representation and advised the Senate to review its laws on legislative suspensions. But in a twist, the same court found Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan, who represents Kogi Central, guilty of contempt of court. In its ruling, the court ordered her to tender a public apology on her Facebook page and in 2 national dailies within 7 days. She is also expected to pay a 5 million naira fine to the federal government to purge herself of the contempt charge. For more on this developing story, our senior reporter Celestina Iria joins me live on the news. Celestina, what more are you hearing about this case?
Disorder. She is to publish the apology in 2 national dailies and also our Facebook page. And the contempt charge arose from the publication she made on her Facebook page, which she termed a satirical apology to the President of the Senate. And this particular issue is a civil matter which she instituted. She is the plaintiff. She filed a suit against the Senate President, the clerk of the National Assembly of the Senate, I beg your pardon, as well as the chairman of the Ethics and Privilege Committee. She was challenging her suspension, terming it as unlawful. And in that suit, the Senate also filed their application, interlocutory application, which they said that the senator is in contempt of court. The court had given an order that parties should refrain from making any posts on their social media handles and also granting any press interviews. But while that order subsists, the senator went on her Facebook page to make a satirical apology. And that issue was brought before a court for the court to determine. And Justice Binta Anyanku, in determining that particular issue, said that there are differences between a civil contempt and a criminal contempt. In this very case, it is a civil contempt. And asked that she tender an apology to the court and also tendered that apology on her Facebook page and also paid the sum of 5 million naira to the federal government coffers. But the court said that if it was a criminal contempt, the court would be inclined to remand her or send her to correctional center. But also in this very judgment today, the court looked at the Senate powers to suspend their members, and the court said yes, indeed, the Senate has the powers to suspend its members, but that suspension should be done within the confines of the law. And the court said that the 6 months is excessive because constituents should not be deprived of representation. And we know this is not the first time a court is making pronouncement as to how long a senator or a member of a House of Representatives can be suspended. We recall the case of Ali Ndume, who was suspended for 6 months, and the court said that that suspension was unconstitutional. Also recall the case of Senator Dino Minai. The court made such pronouncement. And also recall the case of Honorable Adomnomi Jubril, the House of Representatives. He was suspended for 180 days, and the court said it was excessive. Meanwhile, the court is saying that he is not dabbling into the affairs of the Senate, but will only do so if it involves the fundamental right of a member is being violated, and if the Senate itself is not adhering to its own rule. So these were the findings of the courts today, and the judgments, the court said the judgment will be ready, that when parties can go through it, and you know this is the trial court, they have a liberty to take it up if they're not satisfied with the judgments today.
All right, Tina, one would have thought that perhaps the court would someday be specific about what it feels to be an ideal duration for suspension. But aside that, talk to us about the mood in the court, those who were actually present in court and how the whole matter turned out, how they received this ruling by the court.
Well, about today, let me talk about the duration at which she said the court ought to have addressed in terms of suspension. The court did its calculation and says that we know the legislative calendar is not like our normal calendar that is 365 days. The legislative calendar is they sit for 181 days because they have just sittings within the week. They don't sit on Mondays and Fridays, and also the fact that they go on vacation. So put together is 181 days, and that is 3.2 weeks, according to the calculation of Justice Binta Iyanku. And Senator Natasha was suspended for 6 months, and she said that alone has gone like almost half of the year. The Senate has the power to sanction its members. And also the issue of the sitting position arose, where she also said that she wasn't granted fair hearing. And the court said that as long as she wasn't sitting in the seat allocated to her by the Senate, she had no right to be granted audience or to be heard. So now, the mood in the court, people were happy because one of the orders given by the court was for her to be recalled and also for her to have an opportunity to apologize to the Senate for any misdeeds or misgivings that may be felt. And the court also said that the Senate should look into their legislations, that there is some inconsistencies. They will refer to a particular session as rule, and in that same session, they will also refer to it as order. So the court said that the Senate is an arm of government, which is the legislature. The judiciary is not interfering, but as it borders on human rights, the judiciary will come in. But the Senate needs to also look at their books and put their orders in order.
All right, Celestina Iria, senior reporter for us in Abuja. Thanks a lot, Tina. Away from the court, the House of Representatives is pushing for greater grassroots representation